What's going on, guys? Kaiger here. Today we're going to talk about all of the mages in Lord of Nazarick. Let's get into it. Alright, guys. So there are 1, 2, 3, one of each element, SSRs and several SRs. First, we have Evileye, and then we're going to talk about Demiurge, the two first banners that we had on Global. Evileye, basic. Damage. Gain attack boost after using for 2 rounds. 2-turn attack up after using your basic, pretty good. Then we have passive. Oh, that's right. She gains attack but can't crit, and she converts crit into attack. So that's a very interesting thing with her. There's also some bosses and stuff where either crits deal less damage or you can't crit them. She plows through them. Increase damage dealt by 15% if Evileye has 2 or more buffs. Increase by 30% if she has 3 or more buffs. So she wants buffs. She can give herself at least 1 buff from attack boost. We'll have to see if she can give herself other boosts. But if she's able to have more boosts, she gets more damage from her passive, and then she converts crit into attack. Special, 2 round goes to 1, so every other turn. Deals damage 5 times. Scales up. And that's all it does. So 104% 5 times. With 2 extra, so 7 bounces. Ultimate. 3 rounds minus 1, so 2, so every 3 rounds. Damage to everyone, and increase damage by 15%. Targets over 80%. So ideally, you want to open with Shattering Crystal. It's AoE. Ideally, it will put them under 80%. At 5-star, which is going to be kind of hard. 3 stars 1 copy, 4 stars 2 copy. You need 2 more, so 4 copies to be 5-star. 25% attack boost if she has 100% HP. 25% increase if they're over 65, so you have more of a window to use it. Then her card, entering battle or dealing every 5 instances of damage, Spell Burst. Upon entering battle, Spell Burst increases damage dealt with skills by 15, doubles if you max it 30%. Subsequent Spell Burst increase damage dealt with this skill by 45% for 1 round. So it won't work with the ultimate or special, but it will work with the basic. It could work with Crystal Lance with certain gear sets that can do -1, 20% chance of -1 skill cooldown. So you can go Crystal Lance with the boost. But every 5 times of damage you get Spell Burst. This hits a number of enemies, so if they have 5 enemies, then you get immediate Spell Burst. This bounces 5 regular, 7 if you level it up. So it could trigger 2 spell bursts for more damage. So she's pretty good damage-wise. Let's check out Demiurge. Basic. deals damage, 60% base chance, so it affected by EP and ER, to burn for 2 turns. Damage. Hitting grants 100% base chance to burn, so it will burn unless they have resistance, but it will be counteracted by your effect power. And burn 50% of your attack before their action. Targets already burned take immediate burn damage again when reapplied. So there's only ever one burn on them, and you're kind of detonating it as you put new ones on them. Where's the special passive? 12 stacks of dominant energy at the end of any turn. Consumes all stacks to use prostrate yourselves. Prostrate yourselves. Deal damage to all enemies. 20% chance to inflict stun that lasts for 1 round on the targets after dealing damage. At 5 stars, so 4 copies. May retain 4 stacks of domination energy after prostrate yourself. So that's pretty good. You need 12 stacks to prostrate, and you can keep 4, which is pretty good. 30% stun, more damage, 40% stun. Do special 3 rounds -1, 2 rounds. Deal damage to everyone, 20% chance to burn, 30, 40, and then when you max it, 100% fixed chance to burn for 2 turns on targets already affected with burn. But if they don't already have burn, it's 40% chance to burn them. And the ultimate, Flames of Gahana, Vermilion Nova 3 times, random enemies. When it changes, single target, so it hits 3 times, 75% chance to burn for 2 turns. Twice at random enemies. While in Flames of Gahana, Demiurge attack is increased by 20%. This is a 4-star and 6-star, so 4-star do 2 more hits, so 5 hits. And at 6-star, which is a lot of copies, 20% attack. While in Flames of Gahana, unleashes Vermilion Nova at a random enemy before taking action. So when you have this at 2, he does a random extra hit each turn during those 2 turns, which powerful. More damage. So now what's interesting is he also has a captain skill that the other character did not. Within Flames of Gahana, burn is increased by 25%. So 3 turns, no minus cooldown. So every 4 turns lasts for 2 turns. So it's effective for 3. So you only have 1 downtime turn without Flames of Gahana, making all your burn deal more. You're dropping Vermilion Novas over and over. Hellfire Wall, if they already have a burn, ideally from Flames of Gahana or the basic, then they get auto burned, which will trigger burn, which will deal more damage with the captain skill. Then we have his card. When Flames of Gahana takes effect, every 3 times burn is triggered. Any character deals damage equal to 25% attack to a random target after action. There's a 100% base chance to inflict burn after this damage. And this part does double to 50% attack when it's maxed out. So you activate Flames of Gehenna. Every 3 times burn, you deal damage for 50% attack to a random enemy, and then 100% chance affected by EPER to inflict burn after this damage which is more damage, which your N flames a Gehenna. So if Demiurge is your captain, 25% more damage. Burn, burn, more burn. Last is one that doesn't get talked about almost at all, Mare. Damage, attack damage, damage. Hitting grants 40% chance of ER down, 70% chance of ER down for 2 turns. So it'll allow you to hit your debuffs more often. This is a 45% ER down. Earth Seed, passive. After hitting with an active skill, that includes the basic 70% chance to inflict 1 stack of Earth Seed. It goes to 100% chance at level 2. On the primary target, Earth Seed deals damage to 45% attack and restores HP equal to 50% attack. So you're putting seeds on people and dealing damage to them every 2 turns, every turn for 2 turns, and it also heals you when it triggers. And advantage, so at the beginning of the match, you give someone an Earth Seed. At 4 stars, so 2 copies, 2 stacks initially, so the first time Earth Seed. When an enemy has 3, 2, 1 members remaining, increase Earth Seed damage by 10, 20, 30. So more damage as less people are alive. Really good as the match goes on. 50% attack, restores 50% attack. After hitting with active skill, 100% chance to Earth Seed primary target. So very solid. Damage all around. Whenever you hit someone, Earth Seed them. Earth Seed does passive damage. Special, single target, every other turn. Damage. Attacks against target with... And 100% base chance of speed down for 2 turns. And attack against target with speed down. Additionally, reduce their turn meter by 25%. So if they already have speed down, you rewind their turn meter, which in a turn-based game is massive. Earth Surge, 3 rounds, -1. Damage. Hitting grants 40% chance to inflict speed down for 2 turns. So combos really well. You give them speed down with Earth Surge, then Boulder Fall rewinds turn meter on single target. Damage. Hitting does not reduce Earth Seed stack count on target already inflected with Earth Seed, so it allows the Earth Seed to stay on even though it still triggers the damage. Earth Surge deals 20% higher damage against targets with debuffs, any debuffs. So you can have anything on them and burn, shock, or bleed count. So pairs really nicely with Platinum Dragon. If they hit his barrier, they get shock. And then you Earth Surge them 20% more damage. Now their card, Praise and Honor, increases damage dealt with Earth Seed by 35% and reduces the hit target's turn meter by 5%. So at max, 70% more damage from Earth Seed and a 10% turn rewind every time you trigger Earth Seed. So they already do turn rewind on the special every other turn, but if you trigger Earth Seed on everyone with Earth Surge, you're also turn rewinding them, allowing another one of your team members to get more turn. Pairs super nice with Renee, however you want to say her name, the princess, which gives your entire team a speed boost, which gives your team a speed boost. So you're going speed up, speed down, and you can just keep going around the opponents. Then we go into the SRs. Ninya. Basic, damage, doesn't really matter. Passive, very interesting passive. This boosts, boom, boom, boom. Increases his attack by all the burns on the field, and increases his damage reduction for burns on the field. AoE, every other turn, deals damage. 100% base chance to dispel a buff on the target, pretty solid. And 50% and 50% chance to dispel a second buff. So we still don't have any burn that we're putting on them, which makes our passive a lot worse. Let's check out our ultimate, which is very interesting. 3 rounds, no cooldown, gain flame burst for the target for 2 turns. The attack by a unit with flame burst deals more damage. The attack with the flame burst, 50% base chance. Looking for a scale. Nope. Additional burn. Gains flame burst for both. Okay. The effect can trigger twice each action. So every time you hit them, do bonus damage and chance of burning them. So this is each action. So pairs really well with counter, chase, or units like that. Brain, another SR, which every action the opponent does, he does a counter. You can do Moimon, who does follow-up attacks all the time. Even the new Albedo does follow-up attacks. Very, very solid. Can also pair really well with the... there's so many Albedos. Raven Armor Albedo, which does counterattacks and gives everyone with shield counterattacks, which there's a lot of things to say about that. So, and it can trigger twice each action. So very, very powerful. This means if they do a multi-hit attack, it can trigger several times. 2 additional burn effects each flame burst action, so more burns. And then right here at 6-star, this is SR, so it's a lot easier. It still requires a bit, but this makes Ninya and the target gain flame burst, which is actually a very powerful effect here, especially if you're getting all these triggers off with the burn. If you have Ninya, Demiurge also does random hits with experiment triggers, and even the 2-star right here, this makes the 2 actions happen. And then you have his captain ability that does more burn damage during Flames of Gehenna. Then we have... He has a captain skill that all burns deal more damage. Not during Flames of Gehenna, but all burns deal 10% of his attack. And his card, when an enemy burn is triggered, deal extra damage equal to 25% once you max it out of Ninya's attack. When burn is triggered, gain 20 or 40% fixed chance to dispel a buff. So he's really good at just clearing buffs off of enemies. And he's not really great at putting burns out himself, but he's really good at making someone do a bunch of burns. Then we have Entama, which is a super interesting character. So many words and intricate effects on her. So SBC, I want to point out the 150% crit damage. That's interesting as we go. Transforms a spell, which we'll need to explain what a spell is, into a sharp blade and hurls it at an enemy. Deal damage 60%. Looking for the scaling. No scale. 60% chance to inflict bleed for 2 turns. When she has 4 or more spells, uses Piercing Wind Talisman instead. Piercing Wind Talisman transforms up to 4 spells to the same number of blades and hurls them at the enemy. Each blade deals 40% of the base attack damage, and can do 5 spells, more damage, and 70% chance to inflict bleed, and then 6 spells. So 6 hits across the board, each one 70% chance to bleed. Sounds good, especially with Coitus, who doubles bleed damage. Solid. Passive, gains 1 spell after taking an action. Can hold 5 talismans at once. Attack is increased by 2% for 1 round for each spell she holds when taking an action. Advantage, so at 4-star and 6-star, ideally 6-star because this is an SR, you start with 4 spells. And this is going to make a very interesting combo as we look at the special and ultimate. Max of 7. 3%, 4%. Number of spells gained after taking an action is 2. So she can get 2 spells per action. Starts with 4. Can hold 7. And gets 4% extra attack per spell. Special. No cooldown. That's crazy as we go. AoE. Deals damage. 50%. 100% to inflict shock for 2 rounds, and it hits everyone. Lasts for 2 rounds once you max it out. When she has 4 or more, consumes 4 to do the empowered version instead. Unleashes a Thunderbird Talisman at each enemy, so more damage. 3 or more, swarm instead. Thunderbird Swarm Talisman unleashes more more damage, which means more shocks. And the ultimate, which is the combo piece here, obtain a large number of spells instantly. Obtain 5 once you max it out. 4 turn cooldown, 3 with this. Immediately gain an extra turn. Obtain 3 spells instantly. Number of spells carried by a turner after the skill cast may exceed her maximum. So this can go past her max. So she can max 7, starts with 4. This gives her 5. So she can have 9 literally the first turn, immediately get an extra turn, and then Thunderbird Talisman, Thunderbird Swarm Talisman, with 9 spells. Which, remember, she'll have an attack boost of 9 times 4. And then the 4 minus 1, 3 rounds isn't as bad because you're immediately getting an extra turn. And then you're getting permanently increase the speed by 10%. So she gets more turns with a max of 3. So you can do this 3 times. She'll have 30% more speed. Very powerful. Card, after using Maelstrom, gain attack boost for 2 rounds, increasing damage of the next skill by 20%. Pretty alright. I like her. And then we have 5 generic cards to look at. Grand say 50%. This does double to 100% chance to nullify a control effect once per battle. This could be nice if you're worried about in PvP a specific CC that someone's using on the very first turn of the game every time, and this turns into a victory. This could be something, but in general I wouldn't worry about it. I did use this on the fire boss that puts chains on you that you need to do assists and whatnot to go through, because I only had one assist guy, Moimon, and I put it on Moimon. Sorry, not Moimon. Who's the mage? There's a mage that does assist or whatnot, and stop the chains, and then that gave me enough to unlock the other chains and then get my team going again, and was able to clear it out that way. But ideally you would have brain and a bunch of other stuff that I don't have built up yet for that. Underworld forces, after dealing damage, 30% fixed chance or double to 60 to inflict one of the 3 states, defense down, speed down, and attack down, that the target does not already have for 2 rounds. And this is after dealing damage. So if you have a multi-hit ability, then there's several 60% chances to do this, and you could even have all 3 on the target, which is really makes them hurt. Target found increases AoE damage with skills by 16%, extra 8% if there are 4 or more targets, good for AoE matches. Freeze increases attack by 16% when battle starts and reduces the effect by 4% after each action till it drops to 0. Every existing enemy increases attack by 4% up to 16%. So as far what I think is the best, I think general purpose Demiurge is the best. He's bringing the most overall damage with the burns. He's also key to the burn team, but even if you're not doing a burn team, it's kind of random, but the prostrate yourself stun can entirely change a match, which you can kind of play around it with something like the ignore the first CC that we talked about right here, Nabe versus Skeleton Dragon. But he's just very, very powerful, especially during Flames of Gehenna. Just all the burns coming across, high damage. Evileye, you kind of have to play with what she's doing. If you're doing this correctly, this should be your first skill. Over 65% more damage. Crystal Lance combos really well with the Underworld forces. You can put a bunch of debuffs across the board. Hit 7 times, so boom, 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 boom. A bunch of debuffs. Very powerful. The spell burst is interesting, but I think in general purpose, Demiurge is going to bring a lot more to your team. Now, Mare, if you have a bunch of debuffs already on your team, will just maul people with Earth Surge, with the card, doing a 10% rewind. Then she gets her turn again. Boulder Fall. You can make one person never get a turn. If you're using either the Princess to give your entire team more turn meter, or if you're using Nephime with the bowl cut to specifically charge Mare, you can charge Mare, Earth Surge, and then have the chance of not going on cooldown. Earth Surge. Really, really mess with someone, and the Earthsea damage is no joke. More and more damage as they get low, which is what you want. And Ninya Obviously, Ninya goes into the burn team, but he does have a secret spot in the counter or reflect or chase teams with his flame boost. Even if you don't have a bunch of burns going on the team, he can just have a bunch of extra damage going on. With Brain, Moimon, Raven Albedo, a bunch of other stuff. Last but not least, really, Entama only really on the bleed team. If you're doing the bleed team, you should definitely have her. She's doing a lot of bleeds, but outside the bleed team, she'll just do this one big hit, but besides that, she kind of just sits there. Let me know what you guys think down below. Until next time, guys.